My name's Howie Hawkins. I'm the Green Party candidate for governor of New York. And I'm here because this is where the power is. These are the companies, the interests that buy the politicians and create this petro state where we invest in fossil fuels instead of clean renewables. And it's a no-brainer in terms of what's good for people and the planet to build the clean renewables. But we're not getting that because our government doesn't reflect what the people want. So we're here to point out where the power is, and the people need power to change our whole direction.
So you're running for governor right now. Do you have any plans to change New York in some way that we're more self-sustaining?
We're going to build a clean energy system in 15 years with commercially available technology. It's economically and technically feasible, according to a peer-reviewed study in a journal called Energy Policy out this week. We create 4.5 million jobs. It's a full employment program. We'll cut electric rates in half. It's an affordable energy program. Plus, it would stop the pollution that's poisoning the lungs, like up in East Harlem and South Bronx, the highest asthma rates in the country, and it would stop battering the climate with carbon. So everything speaks for it except the politicians and the people buying their seats, and that's here on Wall Street. The guy I'm running against, his average donation's over $7,000. Over half his donations are over $40,000. He is a creature of the 1%, Wall Street and the real estate industry. And we need people like me who represent ordinary people. I'm a working teamster. I unload trucks at night. We can run this country and this state better than these 1%ers and their paid-for politicians.
So now, your current run for governor, do you have any particular strategy? Like some people have mentioned, oh, since Zephyr Teachout didn't win the nomination, maybe you'd go after her voters?
Yeah, we're trying to reach the Teachout voters. They're already coming to me. And the problem, the way the 1% rules is that the working people aren't voting because they're totally disgusted with both parties. So we're trying to give them a positive alternative, have working people run. I'm a working teamster, a member of the Teachers Union. My running mate's a member of the Teachers Union. Our candidate for comptroller is a long-term, 40-year member of the Civil Service Employees Association, working with youth in the juvenile justice system. And our lawyer's a lawyer, but he's a member of the National Lawyers Guild, which is as close as you can get to a union in that profession. So we represent the working people. And what I'm hearing from people is, yeah, we need some of us up in there.
What are you going to do to address gentrification of New York?
We're first of all going to enforce fair housing laws so that everybody can live anywhere. It's been anemic enforcement. We're the most segregated state in the United States. We're worse than Mississippi, both in the schools and in the housing. So we got to enforce fair housing and anti-discrimination laws. And then what we need to do is a new public housing program that is mixed income, humanly scaled, scattered site, so that it brings people together rather than segregates people in high-rise projects in the ghettos. And it should be green buildings. They should be clean energy positive. The plant, you put solar panels on top, it's a micro power plant, and then you use building materials that sequester carbon. So it's carbon negative. So it's a clean energy program, it's an affordable housing program, it's a clean a jobs program as well as desegregation. And that's the answer to gentrification, because gentrification displaces poor people, but the housing isn't there for them, so it's a double whammy. You get pushed out of your neighborhood and you don't have anywhere to go. So those are some of the things we'll deal with gentrification. Plus, we need a state bank that works with community banks and credit unions so we have fair credit. The real estate market is institutionalized racism. We still have blockbusting. They tell the white people, the black and the brown people are coming, sell cheap. Then they sell high to the people of color that move in that neighborhood, and then sell these ex-urban sprawl developments to the white people that ran away. And that needs to be stopped. So we got to stop the blockbusting. That's part of gentrification. And it's also, part of the segregation. There's a lot we can do. I want a civil rights department, cabinet level. New York doesn't enforce its civil rights. They put it in the Department of Education, the Housing Department. They got a lot of missions. Civil rights gets kicked to the side. It needs to be cabinet level, top priority.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Can you say what your views are on the mass pesticide spraying in New York, the use of genetically modified organisms, and those type of ecological issues?
Well, I've developed a very detailed sustainable agriculture and food justice program in consultation with about half a dozen farmers upstate and a bunch of food justice advocates. So we want to, first of all, ban these nicotine-based pesticides that are killing the bees. That's the first step. We want to support a transition to organic farming, which is good for the farm workers and the farmers and the ecology. We want to sequester carbon in the ground. We got to not just stop releasing it, we got to pull it back in. And we have these studies from the Rodale Institute that says we can draw a lot of carbon back into living ecosystems. Problem with GMOs, they require pesticides, they kill the soil. So all the ground is just holding the plant. We're not having the ecology on which, you know, that's the foundation. It's like the plankton in the ocean, the soil is the land equivalent. So we got to rebuild that. So that's a big part of our agriculture program. And then we got to bring that food to the people in these food deserts in the inner city. I live in one in Syracuse. It's 3 miles to a grocery store. So we're building a food co-op, direct relationship to farmers. And you know, people in the cities may not see the connection, but upstate, that's the basis of agriculture. That should be the food, fuel, and fiber for green manufacturing, where everything you produce, there are enzymes in nature that break it down. Barry Commoner taught us that for the decades, and instead we got these synthetics. They tend to be based on fossils, and they mimic things in nature, but they're not the same, like endocrine mimickers that make people sick because your body thinks they're supposed to do one thing, and it's just a chemical you ingested because of this, you know, contaminated food, air, and water. So there's a lot to do in that area. And we got an ecology plank. I don't think the Democrats and Republicans understand what ecology is, because ecology is about how our human institutions are part of the interrelationship with nature. And we're dealing with a system here of unlimited growth based on, you know, trying to, it's grow or die in capitalism. That means unlimited growth. You can't have a sustainable planet when the economy is growing like cancer does in the body. So there are a lot of questions we need to deal with, and hopefully these people are raising it so other people will pay attention.